Yes, now we're inside a press conference room. And today, the movie 7 Days in Entebbe had its first showing. And this movie is based on a true story. So very exciting. And now we're gonna meet the team behind the movie and ask some questions.
So welcome to the press conference of 7 Days in Entebbe here at the 60th Berlin Film Festival. And of course, a warm welcome to Daniel Brühl playing Bonnie Böse. The actress who played Brühl Rosamund Pike. Welcome. And next to me is the director Jose Padilha. Welcome. There's one on the left.
Hi, my name is Marcus, work for Swedish television. My question goes to Daniel Brühl and Rosamund Pike. Since this movie was based on a true story, was it extra difficult for you or a big challenge for you to get it as right as possible since it happened in reality?
I think in some ways there might have been more pressure on Eddie Marsan and Leo playing Rabin and Perez, because there is so much more footage of them available. I mean, we know what Rabin was like, we know what Perez was like, what they looked like. There's actually a remarkable deficit of information on Brigitte Kuhlmann and Wilfried Böse. In a way, we had a kind of freedom to fill in some gaps in the stories left by the hostages and a sort of minute amount of information that's out there on the internet. And, you know, the way Jose had envisaged the script, we had some freedom. And as I say, I think it's in the realm of doubt that we were able to create the characters. It's in the gaps between the account of the IDF soldiers and the account of the hostages, you know, whether the terrorists, the reason they didn't kill anyone is because they didn't have time or because they had a humanitarian impulse. You know, there's doubt, and doubt creates space for drama, I suppose.
But that's an interesting point, because that for me was a crucial moment in the film. Was he deliberately, you know, taking the decision of not killing the hostage? I had to make a choice as an actor, and so it was so important to have sources and eyewitnesses like Monsieur Lemoine next to me in saying he remembers that moment clearly, and for him, you know, Böse took this decision not to kill the hostages. So these kinds of information were absolutely crucial for me, you know.
Yeah, and I think it was that moment when I spoke to Jacques for the first time 4 years ago, when he told me that story. That was the moment I knew we had a film.
The question to Mr. Padilha. I know your career, I support your film since the beginning because I know your attitude about hot subjects. And about this film, 7 Days in Entebbe, I like as a period historical political film, also as a genre film, and the casting is great, it's absolutely great, especially the Jewish actor, but also all the actors are there. And so a couple of questions. Did you make a lot of research to make this film, because it's such effective in a different side, especially inside the Israeli government dialectics? Is a study of culture also, not only a film, a genre film or a period film. And the second question is, what is the importance of this film in the current situation, political current situation now in this year? Everybody knows about the situation of the terrorism and all this. And everybody knows about the Middle East situation. Can you tell something about this, please?
Right.
Thanks.
Well, first the research. When I didn't originate this project, I received the screenplay that Kate Salomon and Tim Bevan sent to me. I read the screenplay. It was incredibly well-written script by Gregory Burke. And the screenplay from the beginning was telling two parallel stories. It was telling the story of the hijackers and the relationship with the hostages. It was also telling the story of the cabinet in Israel, in particular the fights between Rabin and Peres and the discussions whether to negotiate or not negotiate. So Kate had done an amazing amount of research. She had already interviewed hostages, and there was a book written by Professor Saul Davis, who also was very well researched. So I read the book. I went to London, I met Kate and Tim, and then I went to Israel with Kate. And in Israel, then, I did more research because I wanted to find out, whether the book was accurate or so on. And in Israel, I met a lot of people. I met some hostages that I spoke to. I met most of the people who were actually in the plane, the Israeli military, Sayrat Makal. I met Ehud Barak, who was Prime Minister of Israel. We spoke with him for 2 days. He was also part of the operation, and he was a very good friend of Yoni Netanyahu. In short, met Yuval Rabin. We talked to a lot of people to do the research of this movie. It was important to have facts accurately, especially because the official narrative of this, the standard narrative, is a military story. It's a story of a military feat. And in Greg's script, already there was a moment where Bose decides that his priority is not to kill the hostages, and he actually tells them, he tells Jacques Lemoyne, who is here, to lay down. And he points his weapon, so he decided not to make killing the hostages his priority. Now, this is not in the official narrative. So I had to check this out, and it's true. Then, regarding the importance of this, when you look at Rabin in Paris, and you see the dynamic, you realize how difficult it is for a politician in Israel to negotiate. So let me put it in a succinct way. For an Israeli soldier, to be brave is to do what Yoni did. Get on a plane, risk your life to save your countrymen. For an Israeli politician to be brave is to do what Rabin did. Be able and have the courage to sit on a table to negotiate. And Rabin was actually killed on the contest of trying to do this in Oslo. So what you learn, what's important is you learn that even though Rabin thought the operation was doubtful, he had to approve it, because not approving it would be a political problem for him. Now, this is true of the dynamic of Israel and Palestine today. It's very difficult for a Palestinian or for an Israeli politician to negotiate, because they lose political standing in their countries. Like another example, Ehud Barak made a proposal to Yasser Arafat in Camp David, and Yasser Arafat said no, even though the proposal was regarded as being a good proposal. But Arafat couldn't take it because it would hurt him politically. So what's the message here? In this recurrent conflict, it's very easy for politicians to present themselves as, I'm going to defend you against the enemy. And once you frame the relationship as a relationship like that to enemies, it becomes hard to negotiate. That's still true today.